look at that. Tailgating at its finest from Miller Park. Nice Saturday night for baseball. It's game 2. The Rockies and the Brew Crew. Milwaukee needs to end a 2-game slide right now on their own home field. Marco Estrada gets the call tonight, 24 hours after learning Chris Narveson is now on the disabled list. He faces Drew Pomeranz tonight, so a big start for Marco Estrada. He could use a little bit of offense along the way as well. And one Brewer who is not afraid to swing the bat right now in this homestand is Matt Gamble. And he said before the season started he's not going to feel any pressure to fill the big shoes over at first base. And you haven't seen that so far, have you?
No, you really haven't. And I remember, you know, as a player, when I made a position change and went to second base, and Whitey Herzog said, hey, you know, the job is yours. Well, it took a lot of weight off my shoulder. I made the All-Star team that year. Now, Matt Gamble's making that position switch. The weight is off his shoulders. He's nice and relaxed. He's out there being himself, and he's playing extremely well.
298 batting average on the season, 455, including his first home run this season on this homestand for the Brew Crew, playing pressure-free. The Brewers used a league-low 6 starters a year ago. Their 6th man is ready tonight. BA and Rock tell us what to expect from Marco Estrada when we come back on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is presented by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Miller Lite, because when friends come together, it's not just a good time, it's Miller time. By Toyota, when you choose Toyota, you get a lot for less. Toyota. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And they're filing in a big crowd here at Miller Park tonight. Saturday night baseball. Marco Estrada getting the spot start for the injured Chris Narveson, and Drew Pomeranz, outstanding left-hander, just getting his major league career started. And hi, everybody. We welcome you back from Miller Park. Brian Anderson along with Bill Schroeder. Great to have you with us tonight. It is Game 2. The Brewers need a victory here tonight, but they have been busy on the transaction wire. Chris Narveson is on the 15-day disabled list, and that means that Marco Estrada will get the start here this evening.
Yeah, he's been getting ready for this start the entire spring when Sean Markham was going through his shoulder issues, just like he did a year ago when Zach Greinke was on the disabled list to start the year. And in 7 starts last year, Marco Estrada was very good, a 3-2 record, a 370 earned run average. He certainly deserves the opportunity because of what he did last year and what he did in spring training. So Marco has been anointed the number 6 starter in this rotation. You can see the transactions. You see what's going on. Willie Peralta recalled from AAA. He was making starts down in the minor leagues. He could be ready today should Marco have some problems early in the game.
Cameron Lowe expected to be back on Tuesday. McClendon takes the spot of Narveson. Peralta takes the spot of Cameron Lowe, who is at the funeral of his grandfather. He'll be down for about 3 days. So in the meantime, it's going to be Estrada. And Ron Renicky said next man up. We had a chance to hear from Rick Kranitz and Marco Estrada yesterday.
The guy's gone through a lot, you know. I mean, he's been with some different clubs. He's been, you know, sent down. He's been traded. He's gone through everything. So there's not a whole lot that can really faze him. You know, all he needs to do is just use his stuff, because he has very, very good stuff. I mean, yeah, he pitched well for us, but overall, you know, he has 4 quality pitches, and you know, he gets him over the plate and he gets ahead. You know, he can be tough.
Yeah, it's good because I guess now I know it's my role and I know what to expect. So just having to start tomorrow, you know, I'm ready. I know what to expect, and then if I have to go back to the pen, I'll be ready for that.
Well, we'll see how he goes. Next man up, says Ron Renicky, and the Brewers trying to get back on track. After 2 wins to start this home stand, they've dropped the last 2. Game 2, Brewers-Rockies, coming up next. Skipper of the Colorado Rockies, his 4th year. Brewers baseball tonight on Fox Sports Wisconsin. They're ready to play ball here tonight at Miller Park. Here are the starting lineups. The Rockies have Marco Scudero leading off, then Dexter Fowler, Carlos Gonzalez batting 3rd. The middle of the order is Tulowitzki, Todd Helton, and Michael Kadire. And then it's Willeen Rosario, the young catcher, Chris Nelson, and Drew Pomeranz. Lineup brought to you by Piggly Wiggly, and there are the numbers on Marco Estrada.
Yeah, making his first career start against the Colorado Rockies, and Estrada has worked 5 games out of the bullpen. He's worked 6 innings and has a 3.00 earned run average.
So it is Estrada who takes the spot of Chris Narveson, and his first pitch is a little bit low and away we go. On a day when we have seen a perfect game in the major leagues today, Chicago White Sox pitcher Philip Humber. Congratulations to him. Here's a strike. Marco Scutaro leading off for Colorado. The umpiring crew, Tony Randazzo calling the balls and strikes. Todd Tishner, Brian Gorman, and Larry Vanover on the bases. There's the crew chief, Brian Gorman. And Scutaro down on the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Let's check the Brewers defensively behind Marco Estrada. Ryan Braun, Carlos Gomez, and Corey Hart in the outfield. On the left side, it's Ramirez and Gonzalez, Weeks and Gamble on the right side with Lucroy doing the catching. Defense brought to you by Menards. They got a great crowd on hand tonight on a Saturday night. Good tailgating weather out there. Temperatures in the low 50s, but clear skies, sunny skies. Great scene out in front of Miller Park before the ball game today.
Yeah, pulling into about 2:30. You could hear you could see the charcoals getting going. A nice smell of the lighter fluid. I always love that.
Yeah, you can always tell when it's a good tailgating day when my partner comes in here drooling.
And I just come right through the parking lot. And I park with everybody else and walk in here and end up having 5 or 6 brats under my belt.
In full slobber. A ball and 2 strikes. Let's talk about Estrada a little bit, Rock. We mentioned it on the pregame show, and Davey Nelson talking about what we're going to expect here from Estrada. But even though he was stretched out as a starter in spring training, he still is going to be on a pitch count tonight, and it's a pretty limited pitch count at that for his first big league start of the season.
No, and again, he did such a good job in picking up Zach Greinke and Narveson last year that he certainly deserves the opportunity to make a start here. Give him an opportunity, maybe a couple of starts, see what he can do. Question is, how long is Chris Narveson going to be out? Nobody knows right now. He's going to get a second opinion on that shoulder. And Brewer was very fortunate last year. After Greinke came back, everybody healthy. That doesn't happen very often.
Now, Narveson has a torn rotator cuff. And when you hear that, your first instinct is surgery, out for the season. Who knows even about next season? But Narveson's going to have a second opinion, and then there is a possibility, I guess, that you could strengthen that shoulder enough to get through. But only time will tell. As Scutaro chases one, and Marco Estrada strikes out Marco Scutaro for the first out.
Now, the first time that Scutaro has struck out this year. All season long in 45 at bats, he has not punched out, and Marco able to get him. That's an amazing stretch of at bats without a punch out for Marco Scutaro. Now it's over.
And one away for Estrada with Dexter Fowler coming up. Fowler, the Rockies switch hitting center fielder. And he takes a strike from Estrada. Marco is a strike thrower, and that 70 to 75 pitch limit that he'll be on tonight, if he's right, you could easily see him pitching through 5 innings, maybe 6 innings.
Yeah, with that change up, he pitches to contact to try and get a hitter off the end of the bat. But he can be a little bit sneaky with that fastball that he just threw, 92 miles an hour. Yeah, most hitters don't expect that from Estrada. Getting a lot of the plate with that last pitch, but able to get it right by him.
See what he has in mind for him. 0-2. And a changeup down. Ball and 2 strikes. Marco was great last year. He really filled a big void for the Brewers. And you talk about the success of the team last year, and you talk to guys like Rick Kranitz, the pitching coach, some of the starting pitchers, they all point to Marco Estrada as having a major role, filling in for injuries twice. And a swing and a miss. Got his fastball dialed up today, does Estrada. Back-to-back Ks.
They keep striking guys out. That pitch count's going to get up quickly. I think Marco will take it, though. A fastball he elevated and got Dexter Fowler. So 2 guys able to get him quickly with the strikeout is Marco.
Well, Estrada last year, you might remember, he covered for Zach Greinke Greinke had a broken rib in spring training. Estrada made 4 starts while Greinke was on the disabled list. And then he came back and made 3 starts when Chris Narveson was injured. Narveson had cut his hand trying to repair his glove, so there were a couple of instances where the Brewers had to dip down into the depth of the starting pitching, and Marco, when it was all said and done, did a nice job. He had a 3.70 ERA in his 7 starts last year. And a big cut from Carlos Gonzalez. Gonzalez comes in batting .268, 11 hits in 41 at-bats, had 2 hits last night, and he's driven in 4. And this will be the big test for Estrada, getting through the middle of this Rockies batting order.
That's a good changeup right there. Marco's got it going right now. We haven't seen a breaking pitch, but fastball pretty straight, 92, a changeup at 81, and he'll throw the slider. And as you mentioned, he throws all of them for strikes.
One and 2 on Gonzalez, and he doesn't chase the high fastball. On our open, we heard from Rick Kranitz, and he was quick to point out Estrada has good stuff. He has been a pitcher with stuff waiting on an opportunity, and he gets it here tonight. Another fastball. Gonzalez takes a close one. I think he fooled him with that one.
I think he was sitting changeup. He tried to get him to chase a high fastball, then went right back to it. And look at Lucroy. You can always tell when a catcher thinks it's a strike when he holds it like that. Umpires don't like that too much.
Tony Randazzo back there tonight. Swing and a miss. Good evening, Marco Estrada. Welcome to the starting rotation. 3 straight strikeouts to get his night started. Wow. Get the bats going here tonight. Feels like the Brewers are a very good offensive team, but it has been a struggle this season. They've had a few moments where they've broken out, but he'd like to see him get it turned around this evening against Pomeranz. A left-hander, Piggly Wiggly batting order. Carlos Gomez in there tonight with the left-handed starter on the mound. And Alex Gonzalez, Matt Gamble flip spots in the batting order with the lefty as well. And we're looking forward to seeing Drew Pomeranz. It'll be our first look at him. He was promoted last year. But, Rock, this was the big piece in the Ubaldo Jimenez trade with the Cleveland Indians a season ago.
And he went through that Cleveland Indians organization pretty quickly. He signed in 2010, didn't pitch. Last year went through 4 levels of the minor leagues and the big leagues with the Colorado Rockies. And so far, a bit of a struggle in his first start against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Just couldn't find a rhythm and couldn't find the strike zone a lot of times. Got behind in the count quite a bit.
23 years of age, and earned the spot to open the season in the starting rotation for Colorado, as his first pitch to Ricky Weeks is a ball.
Say 1 year in the minor leagues, that's not a lot. They feel as though this guy's ready.
College pitcher Pomeranz played his college ball at Ole Miss. And the Brewers are looking at a couple of their young college pitchers to make the same kind of trek to the big leagues, as Weeks needs a new bat. Guys like Taylor Youngman and Jed Bradley, Kyle Heckathorn.
Yeah, Pomeranz is 6'5", 240. He's a big man out there. Doesn't throw all that hard, about 90, 91. Pretty straight with his fastball, curveball, and a changeup.
Ball and a strike on Ricky Weeks. And there's strike two. Now, with every left-hander, especially guys who have velocity like Pomeranz, that inside corner is always a key. None of the Brewers have ever seen Drew Pomeranz face to face. So they'll be digesting the information as they go.
And there's plenty of video, I'd imagine, but it's not the same until you step in that batter's box and see what his pitches do. It's all well and good to know the pitches that he throws, but every pitcher is different.
Well, we usually hang around the batting cage. We talk to some of the Brewer hitters about a scouting report and what they see from the an opposing pitcher, and must have got 10 different answers tonight on Drew Pomeranz.
Palms up for all of them. I don't know.
We'll find out. There's a swing and a miss as Weeks goes down on strikes, and we've had nothing but strikeouts in this game. The Rockies defensively with Gonzalez, Fowler, and Kadire in the outfield. Kadire makes his first start of the series. Helton, Scudero, Tulowitzki, and Nelson around the horn, with Willeen Rosario, the young catcher. Very strong throwing arm behind the plate. Defense brought to you by Menards. And there is another bright young prospect in the Rocky system getting a chance in the big leagues, Rosario. Carlos Gomez, 8 hits this year in 24 at-bats. And he hits that one down on the label a little bit. And out number 2.
And talking to Johnny Naron about Drew Pomeranz, he says he likes his fastball, and it's a fairly straight fastball, and in the low 90s. I mean, if you want to know what the opposing pitcher has that day, you go to that guy and he'll tell you some of his tendencies. Hasn't thrown the curveball. He's thrown one changeup, and so far he hasn't been wrong about any of it.
Johnny Naron's been putting in some long hours trying to figure out how to help get this club through an early slump. And here is the one guy the Brewers would love to get going tonight, Ryan Braun. It has been a struggle on this homestand.
And he was swinging the bat well on the road, in Chicago and Atlanta. Had that average up into the mid 300s, but here at Miller Park, he's had a tough time. He hadn't felt all that well. That's one thing. Bat on the cold.
Broken bat, little pop up, easy play for Scudero. Braun is hitless in his last 15 at bats. Good start for Pomeranz. We head to the second. Beautiful Miller Park on a Saturday night, and the Rockies and the Brewers for game 2, and Marco Estrada starting this one with a bang tonight, striking out Scutaro, Dexter Fowler, and Carlos Gonzalez to begin his night.
Yep, all on fastballs, and that's the surprise with Marco. I mean, he's got that little sneaky fastball to go with that changeup, and able to get all 3 with the fastball. There it is.
Well, he has earned his spot. Ron Renicky was quick to answer the question of Marco Estrada versus Willie Peralta. Peralta's been down in AAA starting. He is the Brewers' #1 pitching prospect right now, and the most big league ready. He and Mike Fiers at AAA. And Renicky did not hesitate today. Marco is number 6, as you mentioned in the open. Number 5 is down, the number 5 starter. So next man up, and Marco's earned this opportunity.
No doubt. I mean, he was the guy that was good. They were going to use out of spring training, and what's changed right now? I mean, you'd like to get a little bit, more experience, down in the minor leagues for Willie Peralta to get him ready. A little bit different, or I should say, a lot different pitching here at Miller Park than down in the minor leagues. I mean, you got to be mentally ready for that. I think you made a good point on Brewers Live today, saying if this was 2002, 2003, and the Brewers were in a rebuilding phase, I think you could argue the fact that why not let Peralta make a start, but that's not the case. Estrada's ready. He's done the job before, and it's his opportunity to have the success.
Troy Tulowitzki leading off this second inning. And he pops him up. Carlos Gomez will ease in, and Estrada has retired the first 4.
Hey, for weekday afternoon games, kids 14 and under and seniors 60 and over can save up to 50% on tickets. For details, call 414-902-4000 or visit brewers.com. Won't be long before I'm in that 60 and over.
Yeah, you're gaining on it.
Hard to believe. So will Mike Vasallo, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, we might have added a couple of years to his age yesterday. We apologize for that.
Yeah.
Just bad information, I guess. As Todd Helton takes a ball from Estrada. Helton homered here last night, hit a long home run, his second home run of the season. It was another thriller at Miller Park last night. Came right down to the last strike of the ball game, just like every other game on this homestand. The first 3 with the Dodgers, and game 1 of the 3-game series with the Rockies last night. The Brewers won the first 2 games of this homestand in their last at bat. And a 2-out 9th inning pinch hit double, driving in 2 runs from George Kataris on Tuesday night. Comeback win for Milwaukee. And then a 10th inning victory, snapping a 2-2 tie on a Ryan Braun sac fly. That was Tuesday. Dodgers won Wednesday afternoon, and the Rockies won it last night.
Yeah, the bats might not be doing a whole lot, but the Brewer pitching's been pretty good. That's what gives you the opportunity to win games like that. Good bullpen late, keep the game close, and then you have your dramatic finishes at home. Been a lot of low-scoring games in baseball.
Helton drives one to left. Braun is there. Well positioned for Todd Helton. And out number 2 for Estrada. Well, there's the nemesis from last night, Michael Kadire. He did it for so many years as a Twin. Now he does it to the Brewers as a Rocky. A pinch hit RBI single in the 9th inning against John Axford that broke the tie and gave the Rockies the lead for good.
I'll tell you, that guy right there is a good addition to any team. I don't care who it is. He's a good ball player. He's great in the clubhouse, a good guy in the community. And he can hit.
He is a pro's pro. It's probably the best way to sum him up. And he's putting up gaudy numbers to start the season for the Colorado Rockies. Kadire comes in with the 4th highest batting average in the National League. He's hitting .383 and has 18 hits in 13 games played. He is the league leader in doubles coming in. He and Rafael Furcal of the Cardinals with 7 doubles apiece. Did not start last night. Fouled a pitch off of his foot on Wednesday, and Jim Tracy wanted to give him one more day off. I guess that was actually did it twice.
Right.
Fouled a pitch off the same foot. There's a lot of damage done to that toe.
And hit a home run and had to come out later in the game, but he got a big hit in last night.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Kadire. Well, how bad was it? Video proof Wednesday, right off the big toe. And then he went right back in there. That one probably didn't do as much damage as the first one.
That on a calf, one on the front, one in the back, and then a home run.
Oh, that didn't miss by much. 3-2 the count. So a little added padding, a little added protection there for Kadire. Something you'd normally see on a catcher used by the hitter. Got him. Marco Estrada with his 4th strikeout. 6 in a row retired to start the night. In Major League Baseball, in the Pacific Northwest, Philip Humber of the Chicago White Sox. A perfect game against the Seattle Mariners. Brendan Ryan was the last out. That was the last moment of the game. Called a swinging strike 3.
Yeah.
27 up, 27 down as Philip Humber, yet another former Met, who throws a no-hitter, and in fact it was a perfect game.
How about that? A check swing, huh?
Boy.
Oh, they were upset, weren't they, those Seattle Mariners?
Only the 21st perfect game in the history of Major League Baseball in the regular season. Don Larson threw one, of course, in the World Series in 1956. And you think about all those games every night.
Amazing.
All those years. It's only happened 21 times. So congratulations to the Texan, Philip Humber.
Yeah, toughest thing in baseball, that perfect game. Good for him. And everybody asks you, you go around town, say, which one of the Brewers you think has the stuff to throw a no-hitter? My response, any of them.
Right.
You never know. I mean, it doesn't have to be a big name, a big all-star to throw a no-hitter. Perfect game. You just have it one day, and things just seem to fall in place.
Yeah, what are the betting odds on Philip Humber and Dallas Braden throwing the last 2 perfect games in the big leagues? As Aramis Ramirez takes a strike.
And Philip Humber with a perfect game. Roger Clemens never had a no-hitter.
There you go.
Okay. That's your answer.
That was quite a thrilling game to watch, as Ramirez Fly ball left field, and Fowler into left center to make the catch for the out. Well, Humber tops all the fun we saw on Friday, and Nori Aoki was part of that historic night with the inside the park home run. That traveled just over 200 feet in the air. And Aoki's first major league home run was an inside the parker. Alex Presley did it last night as well, an inside the parker against the Cardinals. Schumacher slammed into the wall. Said he knocked the wind out.
Couldn't get up and ended up circling the bases.
And then the Blue Jays last night turning a triple play. First time they've done that in 33 years. So it was quite a wild night in Major League Baseball last night, only to be trumped by Philip Humber's perfect game today. And unfortunately for the Brewers, no comeback walk-off win to talk about last night. They were threatening. Corey Hart takes strike 2 from Pomeranz. Always a big game, game 2 of a series when you're at home and you've dropped the first one. Trying to put yourself in a position to win a series, but you have to win game 2 to do it.
Yeah.
And the Brewers, having won their first 2 games, would like to put up the kind of numbers that we saw from them last year at Miller Park. They won 57 of their 96 games here at home.
And on the flip side, you come into Miller Park where you know the Brewers have had such good success, and you're a visiting team that's had some struggles early in the year. You win the first game, it takes a lot of pressure off of you. Always looking to win series. It's awfully difficult to sweep a team.
Big swing and a miss from Hart, and Pomeranz strikes out the big slugger for his second K and out number 2. Saturday, May 5th, the UFC returns to Fox, immediately hits the air live with an explosive heavyweight bout between LeVar Johnson and Pat Barry. 3 fights after that. 5-round showdown between lightweight contenders Jim Miller and Nate Diaz. UFC Fight Night on Fox, sponsored by Bud Light, live from East Rutherford, New Jersey. That'll be May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, 7 p.m. Central. Alex Gonzalez with 2 away. Pomeranz and Estrada off to fast starts here tonight.
Yeah, both of them getting a lot of mileage out of 90, 91 mile per hour fastballs. You would expect the 2 pitchers tonight, not a whole lot of familiarity with the offenses, and usually the pitcher has an advantage early on.
Well, that trade is turning out to be a good one for the Rockies. Ubaldo Jimenez traded to the Indians last year. That was a trade deadline deal. Cleveland was in it at the time in the American League Central. Thought they were going to bolster their starting rotation, bringing in a bona fide ace. Just didn't work out that way. Ubaldo didn't pitch all that well.
Right.
And the Indians faltered. They were in it until the final month of the season.
And Jimenez really has not been the same guy that he was to start the season 2 years ago. Hasn't been able to find that stretch. I mean, he was virtually unhittable.
Gonzalez strikes out, and Pomeranz unhittable through the first 2 innings. Both pitchers have retired the first 6. Park coming across the Hank Aaron Bridge as we go to the third inning. And our carsoup.com email the booth question tonight. Corey wants to know, what are the Brewers pitching plans going forward after tonight for the 5th starter?
I think it has a lot to do with how Marco Estrada does tonight, right? I mean, he certainly has earned the opportunity to get a couple of starts anyway. 2 or 3, allow him to settle in a little bit, get that pitch count up. Nobody knows except Rick Kranitz and Ron Renicky at this point.
Rick Kranitz was talking about the build-up strategy as Estrada faces Willeen Rosario, the young catcher, with huge power. This guy can hit him as far as anyone at the plate. But Estrada was stretched out as a starting pitcher. And as a matter of fact, as Rosario whistles one to center, Gomez has it go over his head. And into second base is Rosario. That's the first hit of the ball game. It's a leadoff double from the Rockies catcher.
Well, he squared up on that one. The best hit ball of the night by either team. And fooled Carlos Gomez. I mean, that's the toughest one to judge. That line drive right at you in center field. And Gomez, it looked like he just froze a little bit and wasn't able to recover and make the catch. You don't see Gomez misplay a ball very often.
Yeah, you don't see many hitters put one over the head of Gomez. He's got a lot of power in that stroke, does Rosario. So there's the first hit of the game. And now Estrada will go to work against Chris Nelson with a runner at second. But take you back to Estrada during spring training. He was preparing to be a starting pitcher for Sean Markham, who was out with a shoulder injury. Once it was decided that Markham was going to be able to answer the bell and make his first start of the regular season, and they sent Estrada back into the bullpen. Then he was pitching 1 inning at a time. The most pitches that he threw in a spring training start was 71. That was on March 25th against Kansas City, and that was his last start until tonight.
Yeah, get him into 70, 75 if things are going well. Then you get into your bullpen. But again, I mean, you got to give him a few starts anyway. If he has some success, then you leave him in there. No reason to think that he's not going to be able to do that. He's done it before.
It's not going to be a one and done based on how he pitches here tonight. They're going to allow him to get back to that, the arm strength to throw 100, 110 pitches or so, and then make their evaluations. It has been a troublesome couple of days for Rick Kranitz, the pitching coach, trying to put all the pieces back together after the Narveson injury news. There's a cut and a miss. 3 balls and 2 strikes. That might have been a cut fastball from Marco Estrada.
Yep, 91 miles an hour. Nelson missed it by plenty. Tried to pull it. It was away from him. It might have been tough for Kranitz on this homestand, but the pitching's been pretty good so far.
Fastball called strike 3. Surprised him. Well, that's beautiful pitching by Estrada.
Right down the middle and at the knees, and Chris Nelson watches it go by. A good job by Lucroy to hold it there. And there's that angle that will tell you how high it is, right at the knees. And strike 3. That's a big out.
Out number 1. Think about the pitch, the 3-1 pitch that Nelson swung at. That one tailed away from the right-handed hitter. That one came back in. He gave up on it, and Estrada now facing the pitcher Pomeranz. And it's not just that Estrada goes into the rotation. Decisions have to be made about the bullpen. Who picks up innings where?
Now, nice to have Mike McClendon down in the minor leagues to pick him up. I mean, there's a guy in the minor leagues. Mike McClendon had a lot of success last year for Milwaukee. That's a nice luxury to have as an organization. You have guys that have been there before.
And McClendon was pitching very well at AAA Nashville. So they always tell these guys when they don't make the major league roster, go down there to the minor leagues, have success, get yourself in a position for another call up. There's Mike. At a 1.17 ERA in AAA this season.
He's had good numbers in a couple of stints, back-to-back years with Milwaukee. McClendon last year a 3-0 record and a 263 earned run average in 9 games. In 2010, 17 games and a 2-0 record, so he's never lost a game for Milwaukee.
Nice. No balls and 2 strikes on the pitcher Pomeranz. Got him. Estrada, number 6.
Hey fans, in each Sunday home game, the first 2,000 kids ages 12 and under entering Miller Park will get a coupon for a free Blue Bunny mini swirl cone as compliments of Blue Bunny ice cream.
It's great to see Miller Park full. Celebrating a few birthdays out there. Can't think of a better spot to celebrate your birthday.
No kidding.
Marco Scutaro back to the top of the order. Estrada trying to pitch around a leadoff double. Scutaro a strikeout victim in the first. Former Boston Red Sox. Scutaro has been playing short for the Red Sox the last couple of years. Had a breakout year with the Toronto Blue Jays that earned him that multi-year deal with Boston. But now he's moved from the position and playing second base and occasionally shortstop on that rare occasion when Tulowitzki has a day off. Center field hit pretty well, but Gomez will size it up, and Estrada works around a leadoff double. A couple of strikeouts on the way. He has 6 now. Presented by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. And by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. Back at Miller Park on a Saturday night for baseball. Brian Anderson with Bill Schroeder, Telly Hughes, Chris Withers, and Kevin Shank running the operation in the truck. Well, no score. The first hit of the ball game off the bat of Willeen Rosario. But Estrada able to pitch around it. And here's Matt Gamble now to start the bottom of the third inning. Well, as good as Estrada has been, Pomeranz right there with him. 6 in a row retired with 3 strikeouts through the first 2 innings.
Now the reports on Pomeranz in his first start, he wasn't able to control his curveball. I'd like to be able to say he's been able to do that tonight, but he was only thrown 1. It's been all fastballs, maybe 1 curveball and a couple of changeups. That's it. First time through the order, a lot of mileage for both of these guys on the fastball.
Strikeout number 4 for Pomeranz.
And once again, just like Marco Estrada, you're talking about a 90-91 mile-per-hour fastball getting right by these Brewer hitters. Estrada doing the same to the Rockies.
It'll be Jonathan Lucroy with 1 away. The Brewers' 8th place hitter tonight. Well, normally a game like this, the way it's gone for the pitchers so far, not to take anything away from the 2 pitchers, but you start to look around. Are there shadows? Are there beach balls? Are there, is there something going on with the batter's eye?
Yeah, beach balls, yeah.
That's very distracting.
It doesn't look like there's much of a shadow issue here. I mean, it looks like it's fairly easy to see. I mean, really, from up here.
Yeah, I would say ideal hitting conditions. You have the lights up,
I would think,
and you still have some light, natural light pouring in as well. So give all the credit to the pitchers.
Right. It will be interesting, though, to see what both of these offenses do second time through the batting order. Now, once you get through, you've seen what a guy has, what his pitches do in a strike zone, and ordinarily major league hitters make adjustments fairly quickly. And because of that, so are the pitchers going to have to do the same.
Oh, and 2 on Lucroy. And there's another strikeout. Boy, we are seeing some swings and misses tonight. Estrada has 6 Ks. Pomeranz with his 5th.
And there's a changeup. Pomeranz, actually a slider, a little slide piece. See the way he's got the grip. And a little rotation on it and down in the dirt. One of the few that he's thrown so far. Bouncing just in front of home plate.
Marco Estrada, the Brewer pitcher, will get his first at bat of the season. Isn't that the way pitchers are? Such a big spot for Estrada. Excited about his start. Everybody's talking to him about it. First thing out of his mouth, I can't wait to swing the bat.
Taking the pressure off the pitching part of it, right? Deflecting all the pressure that everybody's so willing to give to him. Lighten up the mood a bit.
Little pop up to second. And Pomeranz 9 up and 9 down. That's a 9-pitch inning for the big lefty. Welcome back. Our keys to the game brought to you by GMC. It has been all about the pitching so far. Drew Pomeranz and Marco Estrada. Estrada has given up just one hit. That was a double by the catcher, Willeen Rosario. He has 6 strikeouts. Meanwhile, Pomeranz has retired 9 in a row. 3 perfect innings for the young lefty, while Estrada is set for his 4th inning of work.
Now the most important part of this game for both of these starters, the second time through the batting order. Who would have thought these two offenses that are known for being able to put up runs, there's only been 1 base runner so far.
Brewers are trying to put themselves in a position to win the series. They're going to have to win tonight to do that. Been one of the more successful teams since the start of last season. Only the Yankees and the Rangers have won more series than the Milwaukee Brewers going back to the beginning of 2011. Texas is off to a blistering start in the American League West. Texas, the pennant winner in the American League last year, is 11-2, and they've already opened up a 5-game lead in that division.
Yeah, they're 6-0 on the road, the Texas Rangers.
Some kind of lineup they're putting together.
Yeah.
And the pitching is matched. Dexter Fowler leads off, the number 2 hitter for the Rockies. He was a strikeout victim in the first. One of the 6 early strikeouts for Marco Estrada. Texas has the best record in baseball. The Dodgers are right behind them at 11-3. And then the St. Louis Cardinals at 10-4. Nationals are 11-4.
Texas leads the American League in runs scored, batting average, and pitching.
I'll get it done.
Yeah.
And they're pretty good defensively, too. There's a swing and a miss. And another strikeout. This is impressive, if not unbelievable so far. 7 Ks already.
Maybe there is some type of a lighting issue down there. And again, not taking anything away from these pitchers, but there have been a lot of fastballs that have gotten a lot of the plate that these guys have not been able to get a piece of. That's unusual.
Well, Marco Estrada has already tied a career high for strikeouts in a game. He did that as a member of the Brewers against the Washington Nationals last April when he was filling in for Greinke. It was a bunt foul.
He's got 1 out in the 4th inning, and he's going to throw his 54th pitch coming up. He's doing a pretty good job.
No balls and a strike on Gonzalez. Count evens at 1-1. Gonzalez struck out in the first. Estrada struck out the side in that first inning. All swinging strike 3s. A lot like that one. Marco started his big league career with the Nationals. He got a look in 2008. Had a couple of seasons in Washington. It's a pretty impressive story how he fought his way back with the Brewers. You look at his bio page in the media guide, and it says, you know, Brewers major league appearances 2010, 11, 12. But it wasn't really that easy for Estrada. He was basically off the major league roster and set to go to AAA last spring. He wasn't even on the major league invite roster.
Buried down in the minor leagues, and was probably about 3rd or 4th on the depth chart to take over for Zach Greinke. Nobody else was able to get it done. He came in and threw well and got the job.
Full count to Gonzalez. Popped him up. Aramis Ramirez right there. Out number 2. All right, Rock, our AT&T trivia question tonight. You ready?
I am.
which Brewers player has the most inside the park home runs all time?
If you were watching last night, you would know the answer to that because I gave it away.
And I was watching last night, and I don't remember that. Did you say something, Rob? Sometimes you just got to go to your go-to guesses. There's a couple of go-to guesses for Milwaukee Brewers franchise trivia.
Yeah, offensively.
Yes. Those would be
safe bets.
Good choices.
They'd be very safe.
So that's the only hint we'll give you.
And right most of the time.
But Nori Aoki's on the list now. And we understand from our friends in the Japanese media covering Aoki, that was big news yesterday in Japan. A lot to write about, blog about, tweet about. Strike on the corner to Tulowitzki. 2 balls and a strike.
I spoke to Kosuke, before the ball game, and he and Aoki were very close to each other as usual. I talked to him and I mentioned that piano comment about Aoki as he crossed home plate.
Yeah, who said that?
And Aoki agreed. He did slow down quite a bit. He laughed.
Strike.
I made you look good. I said we were just joking around.
So Kosuke is Nori Aoki's interpreter, and they're kind of attached at the hip, obviously.
Right.
I would have loved to have mic'd you up for that conversation.
That was a good one.
Yeah, yesterday I said that I wonder if a Japanese piano weighs more than an American piano, as he was rounding the bases.
Right.
Just having a little fun.
He gave me kind of a strange look at Aoki after Kosuke interpreted what I had said, because he thought we were getting on him pretty good, but I just said we were joking around. I mean, you were getting around there pretty good.
Thanks for covering me, partner.
Yeah, it was close. I was sweating a bit. It was all in good fun. Had a good time with the two of them.
See if Estrada can retire Tulowitzki here. 2 away in the 4th. And the payoff pitch. That's hit deep to left. Braun is going back, running out of room. Gone. Troy Tulowitzki puts the Rockies on the board. A 2-out, 2-strike home run for the Rockies shortstop. His 2nd homer of the year.
Man, you got to be careful coming up and in on that guy. I tell you, it doesn't matter how he's been swinging the bat. Coming into a Brewers series, he always seems to get his hits and do a lot of damage against Milwaukee. There's something about the Brewers. Brings out the best in Troy Tulowitzki. And missed his spot. Was supposed to be away. It ended up and in, and Tulowitzki knocked it out of here. And see the way he pops those hips open, that belt buckle facing the pitcher, and that's how you get that bat through the hitting zone and keep it fair as you try to attack an inside fastball.
That's the first run of the game. Tulowitzki's 2nd homer, 8th RBI. It's been a slow start offensively for Tulowitzki. He began this series with just 1 hit in his last 14 at-bats. Helton down on the count 0-2. Tulowitzki has a batting average against the Brewers, Rock, over 400 now. Just to
I believe it.
Follow up your point.
That's the first pitch really that Estrada missed his spot. He didn't want it there.
0-2 to Helton. Didn't chase. Tulowitzki had 2 hits last night, including a double. One of the best slugging shortstops in the major leagues. He's an excellent defender as well, although he's made 6 errors this year. Very uncharacteristic of Tulowitzki defensively.
And talk to the folks with this club. They say that 5 of the 6 are throwing errors. They've had some bad weather that they've played in Colorado, wet baseball, and that might have something to do with it.
Strike called. Helton fooled by a fastball from Estrada, and he strikes out number 8. But Troy Tulowitzki goes deep, and the Rockies have the lead.
To check in with the crew in the community. Want to make a change in the community? Reach into your pocket on game day and give your change to the Brewers Community Foundation. Look for change boxes at the concession stands when you are at your next home game. You'll see a player's picture on the outside, and on the inside, your donations is helping thousands of people in the area get a chance to have a better quality of life. Brian?
All right, thanks a lot, Telly. Might be some change around the booth here, maybe in your chair.
I picked it up already.
Ricky Weeks will lead off. Pomeranz has 3 perfect innings under his belt with 5 strikeouts, which matches a career high in the major leagues for Pomeranz. Had a 5 strikeout game against the Giants last year. Drew Pomeranz, big lefty out of Ole Miss. From Collierville, Tennessee is his hometown. There was a lot of teams after Pomeranz in the draft. After a terrific career at Ole Miss, he signed for over $2.5 million. As Weeks to center, right in the tracks of Dexter Fowler for out number 1. 10 in a row now. Well, Pomeranz. Back to our AT&T trivia. Which Brewers player has the most inside the Parkers? And if your guess was Robin Yount, you would be correct. 6 of them for the kid.
Yep, 4 of them in Milwaukee. I think Robin, when he hit for one of his cycles in Chicago, I think his home run wasn't inside the Parker as part of a cycle. It was either he or Molitor. I'm not sure which one it was.
Either are good guesses always.
Like you said, they're interchangeable a lot of times.
The real news is who is second on that list. Second in franchise history inside the Parkers.
Yep, it drops off quickly with 2, right?
Now, Ricky Weeks is on the list with 2 inside the Parkers. You can understand that. Ben Oglivie? All right, maybe. But Prince Fielder?
B.O. could run a little bit. You know, Prince, when he gets going, there's no slowing him down, that's for sure.
Like Little League rules. Yeah, Prince Fielder has 2 inside the Parkers. He is one of 3 in second place in franchise history if you're keeping your inside the park home run database updated. Gomez gets sawed off, but Tulowitzki right there. And it's out number 2. Well, it may just be April, but it's time to ramp up and vote Brewers. This season, 8 Brewers players are featured on the ballot for the All-Star game in Kansas City. Right now, fans are able to vote online at Brewers.com. All fans voting 21 or more times will be entered to win Ryan Braun's Miller Park Suite for a night. You can log on to Brewers.com and cast your vote now. Vote Brewers at Brewers.com. Ryan Braun was an All-Star last year, the leading vote getter among National Leaguers. Halfway through an MVP season for Braun. Now this is where you need a spot when Braun does what Tulowitzki did for the Rockies. Brewers need a big bolt, something to get them jump started offensively.
Yeah, you can see Ryan talking to himself, trying to snap himself out of this little stretch that he's been in. That's the first sign that a guy's going to snap out of it. You know, you start talking to yourself in the batter's box.
Self-motivation.
A little clubhouse meeting with yourself once in a while, walking around that batter's box. Remind yourself to stay back, swing at strikes.
There's a great sports psychologist, Bob Rotella. He wrote a book titled "What You Say When You Talk to Yourself."
Right.
What'd you say when you talked to yourself when you were a player, Rob?
I can't say that on TV.
Probably not so positive and encouraging. Here's the 2-1. And he got in on the hands of Braun. Well, you know, Braun sitting on a fastball, getting a fastball. And Pomeranz got it right in on his hands. A testament to his stuff tonight. Now it's 2-2. Down he goes. Braun strikes out. And Drew Pomeranz has 4 perfect innings with 6 Ks. That's a new career high for him.
Rockies have a 1-0 lead, and tonight's timer of the game winner is Station 1 in Whitewater. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game this year. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Well, Marco Estrada down in this game 1-0, but pitching very well so far. Estrada has 8 strikeouts, which is a career high. As a matter of fact, Estrada already has the most strikeouts by a Brewer starter this season.
And ranks 4th in strikeouts on the team.
Kadire on the first pitch. Rolls out to short.
And Marco with 15 strikeouts on the season. Zach Greinke leads the staff with 19.
Now, Greinke and Gallardo had 7 strikeout games. But Estrada's punched out 8 through the first 4 innings. On what looks like a night for the pitcher. 6 Ks swinging, 2 looking.
And Marco right about at his pitch limit as to what they were talking about before the game. But how can he justify taking him out at this point? He's at 72 pitches right now as Tim Dillard starts to get loose.
You know, Estrada, he's pitched from the windup this entire game. We haven't had a base runner yet. You had the home run by Tulowitzki. I checked that. Rosario doubled to start the 3rd. So I beg your pardon. That was the inning he pitched from the stretch. Still struck out 2. Point is, the innings have been fairly low stress for him.
Right.
And that'll play into the decision for Rick Kranitz and Ron Renicky.
There's only been one guy on the bases the whole game.
Two balls and a strike on Rosario, who doubled in the 3rd. He hit a rocket over the head of Gomez in center field. Bounce to the 3rd. Ramirez took a tough hop. Had a nice play for out number 2. Tonight, Fox Sports Wisconsin has Brewers and Bucks. And if you're looking for the Bucks Nets game, it's on Fox Sports Wisconsin's alternate channel. For more information and additional channel listings, visit foxsportswisconsin.com. Time Warner customers, channel 310. If you're on Charter, it's 323. AT&T UVerse 745. And you can read the graphic just like I can, right? Here's Chris Nelson.
I love the effort, though. I mean, you tried to get through that whole list.
I was trying. I ran out of gas.
I hear you.
Just save some bullets, you know. Fastball right by Nelson. 0-2 the count. Nelson came in here swinging a pretty good bat. Took the collar last night. And back-to-back strikeouts against Estrada in this one. Marco Estrada, probably his last hitter. How about a 7-pitch inning to finish it out? 3 up and 3 down, but he's down a run. The Brewers need to get him some runs here. Well, Marco Estrada exits this game most likely as Ron Renicky comes over for a handshake. Down 1-0 is Estrada on the Tulowitzki homer. That has been the only run. Brian Anderson with Bill Schroeder, Telly Hughes. Brewers baseball tonight on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
I mean, and really the only mistake that he made. I mean, sometimes you say that he hadn't made many mistakes, but he tried to catch the outside corner on Tulowitzki and left one up and in, and Tulowitzki hit it out of here. So he threw extremely well, hit his spots all night.
5 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, and 9 strikeouts for Estrada. A new career high and a season high for the Brewers. Meanwhile, Drew Pomeranz is perfect through the first 4 innings with 6 strikeouts. Three balls and no strikes on Ramirez.
And doing a little investigating on Drew Pomeranz. You know, that curveball that he's throwing is a knuckle curve. I thought it looked a little unusual the way he was gripping that pitch.
There's ball 4. There's the first base runner as Ramirez draws a 4-pitch walk. Hey, reminder, Sundays on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Join Tom Brokaw for Boys in the Hall. This week it's Buck O'Neill. Boys in the Hall, Sundays presented by Subway Restaurants, where winners eat.
Great man, Buck O'Neill. Saw him every time we went into Kansas City. Took every opportunity to sit in the press room when he was up there and sit at his table. He always welcomed you over there, and boy, some stories he had. That was an incredible man, Buck O'Neill.
Great Negro League player and then the Negro League ambassador. That's where the Baseball Museum is, the Negro League Baseball Museum, Kansas City.
Right back in the days when the Brewers were in the American League, we had Buck O'Neill on our broadcast for an inning. Of course, it's a little uncomfortable because he kept rooting for the Royals.
Yeah, baseball misses Buck O'Neill. He was a great ambassador.
Loved the game of baseball. Some of the names he would come up with. Wow.
Corey Hart with Ramirez at first base. And suddenly Pomeranz cannot throw a strike in this inning. That is 6 consecutive out of the strike zone.
Well, 2-0. Let's see if we can throw one of those fastballs in Corey Hart's wheelhouse and get something going here.
And a couple of beach balls loose. And that gives us a chance to remind Brewers fans, it's your opportunity this year to get involved in our broadcast over a wide range of social media options. You can tweet. Our Twitter handle is @FSWisconsin. We'll choose some of the best each night, put them on the air. You can also follow along on our Game Connect page at foxsportswisconsin.com. And more beach balls. Not from that kid. He's ready to play ball.
That's it for the active beach balls in the stands. There might be some that have yet to be blown up.
So we resume here, and can't blame Pomeranz for taking a throw to first. He's thrown 6 consecutive balls. Question is, does Corey Hart let it rip if he gets one he likes?
You betcha.
2-0 the count. Ramirez at first, the first base runner of the game for the Brewers. And Hart does let it rip, and he fouls it back.
Had a good one, a little bit up, but right down the middle of the plate. Once again, not able to center on that fastball. You're talking about a fastball with a lot of movement, maybe a little cut to it. Doesn't throw it hard. Must be hiding it pretty well. Tough to pick it up.
Two and 2 on Hart. Pomeranz tonight is making just his 27th career professional start. It's just his 6th in the big leagues. He had 21 starts. That's it in the minor leagues. You talked about how fast his arrival to the major leagues was. Hard into deep center field. Fowler came in and can't get it, and it bounces up and out. That'll be a ground rule double. They'll send Ramirez back, and a bit of bad luck for the Milwaukee Brewers. That hits the wall and comes back. Ramirez has a great chance to score.
Yeah. More importantly, I think the Brewers finally able to center on one of those fastballs by Drew Pomerantz and didn't try and pull it. Actually, that was a knuckle curveball. My mistake. That was a 2-2 knuckle curve, and Corey Hart able to drive it over the head of Dexter Fowler, which is not easy to do. Already playing deep, that ball just kept slicing away from Fowler. And you're right, if that ball hits the wall, that's going to carry him in deeper into center, and Ramirez would be able to score.
It is the first hit of the game for the Brewers. So after 4 perfect innings for Pomerantz, he's given up a walk and now a double. And it's Alex Gonzalez. Runners at 2nd and 3rd. Gonzalez 8 for 40 on the season, a batting average of 200, and that gets away. Here comes Ramirez. He'll score, and we are tied. Hit off the glove of the Rockies catcher and to the screen, and the Brewers have evened the score.
Yeah, not even close. It all started with a Ramirez walk. Hasn't been the same pitcher since. And almost hitting Gonzalez and back to the screen, and the Brewers tie it up. Boy, a different guy out of the stretch, isn't he?
Quick trip to the mound as trying to settle down the young Pomerantz. Pitching coach Bob Apodaca. Still no official ruling on that yet, whether it's a wild pitch or a pass ball.
Yeah, it's got to be a wild pitch. I almost hit him.
And that'll affect the earned runs. The Brewers are on the board. Infield halfway in for Colorado. Nobody out. And the 2-0. 2-1 on Gonzalez. These are the spots Gonzalez has been pressing a little bit. At the plate, runner at 3rd, less than 2 outs. A lot of ways to score a run here. Even with an out. The Rockies have very good arms in their infield all the way around. There's a bouncer. That is a base hit down the line. Hart will score. Gonzalez on his way to 2nd. And it's an RBI double. And the Brewers have the lead 2-1.
Now fastball down and in that time, and that's Gonzalez. He goes down and gets it and able to keep it fair. And just out of the reach of Nelson at 3rd, and down in the corner the Brewers take a lead, and Marco Estrada, pitcher of record, going 5 very good innings, and good to see Gonzalez with that big base hit.
Well, Estrada, interesting that he's putting a helmet on here. Potentially a bunt situation, maybe. We'll see. But has a chance to win this game now. Matt Gamble. That one's in the dirt. Good play from Rosario.
And moves around pretty well, doesn't he?
Well, he's the future behind the plate for Colorado. They brought in Ramon Hernandez to be a mentor to the young Rosario. He's just 22. Hernandez catches out of 5 games. He'll catch 3, and Rosario will catch the other 2. Gamble showing bunt there.
Maybe try to drag one towards second base to get Gonzalez over to third base. Gamble, the only left-handed hitter in the Brewers lineup.
I think you nailed it, Rock. Put him in the stretch. Now, he walked Ramirez on 4 straight pitches to start this inning. But he's a different looking pitcher from the stretch here.
Yeah, just doesn't have near the command of any of his pitches. He could get it back, but you got to take advantage of it when he's having a tough time. This is the way they said he pitched, throughout the game against the Diamondbacks. Just couldn't command much of anything.
Well, Gamble draws a 4-pitch walk. That's the second 4-pitch walk of the inning. And suddenly, Jim Tracy probably got to be thinking about getting some activity in the bullpen going.
Yeah, this is where, some of that experience, maybe some of the development down in the minor leagues might be catching up with the young pitcher. Only 1 year in the minors. Last year he went A-ball, AA, AAA, and then he got traded and went to the Rockies. I mean, that's a pretty quick ascent into the big leagues, and it's not just the stuff and command of your pitches that you learn down in the minor leagues. It's how to handle innings like this. The maturity process. That's a tough thing to learn at this level.
And for organizations, they're always concerned about losing a player. Confidence. You may never get them back.
Yeah, that's why you got to be very careful. And that's why the Brewers are very patient with their players. And there's a reason for that.
Well, we'll see what Lucroy can do here. 2 on, nobody out. 2 runs are in. The Brewers have taken the lead. And Lucroy trying to bump the runners over, fouls it away.
Well, Lucroy up there to bunt. Marco Estrada in the bat on deck circle. I can't imagine that he's going to get an at bat.
Perhaps only to get a bunt down, you would think. But in this case.
Well, not if Jonathan's bunting.
Yeah, good point. Well, we'll see. And now Nori Aoki starting to get ready for an at-bat. Lucroy gets a bunt down. Pomeranz thought about third and fires a missile over to Helton for the first out. Perfect sacrifice bunt for Jonathan Lucroy.
And not an easy pitch to bunt. It was a knuckle curveball. Now a little bit up in the strike zone, but able to deaden it nicely in front of home plate.
Well, Estrada pulled back, and Nori Aoki, who's quickly becoming a fan favorite here, he'll get a pinch hit appearance in the 5th inning. Nori Aoki on the Powerball home run leaderboard.
And look at the way he just slaps that ball into left. At the time, the Brewers had not got a base hit. Well, Gonzalez stretched out to try and preserve the no-hitter and got by him. And then out in the left field wall, they couldn't decide who to pick it up. And he never slowed down.
Aoki announced as the pinch hitter, 2nd and 3rd for the Brewers. Infield is in. If you're wondering why the Brewers don't use a right-handed hitter off the bench, they don't necessarily have one. East-Turris is a switch hitter, but he's your backup shortstop. And Renicky doesn't want to use him.
You don't want to burn him in the 5th inning.
He's the guy that would have to come in and play defense if he lost a shortstop. So it is Aoki, and Renicky has said from day one he's our right-hander off the bench, even though he's left-handed.
And lefty versus lefty, a pretty good play here is to try and take a bunt with you towards second base. You score the run, you get Gamble to third base with 2 outs. And the way Aoki can drop down those bunts, he might get a base hit.
Aoki has already executed a suicide squeeze this year. That was on Tuesday night against the Dodgers. Breaking ball finds the strike zone. 2 years ago in Japan for the Yakult Swallows, which is in the Central League in the Japanese major leagues. Aoki hit .358 and won a batting title, which was his third.
You can see Aoki surveying the field with his eyes, going from third around to first just to see where they're playing him.
Big spot for Norichika Aoki. 1 out. Runners at second and third, and the 1-2 and a bouncer to third. Running on contact, Gonzalez. He's tagged out easily as Gamble is in at third base. So they had Gonzalez on the move. The second out, and Pomeranz has a chance to get out of this inning.
And then Aoki able to make contact, but a one hopper right at the third baseman. Nelson didn't even have to move. And an easy out at home plate.
Five to 2 on the putout, and first and third for the Brewers. Top of the order, here's Ricky Weeks and his third trip to the plate against Pomeranz. Weeks smoked a ball in the fourth, probably one of the best hit balls of the night, but he lined out to Dexter Fowler. Hit a rocket to the center fielder. None of the Brewers had ever seen Pomeranz before tonight. Now we're moving into the third time through the batting order.
Yeah, second time much better than the first, that's for sure.
The Brewers have 2 hits and 2 walks second time through the batting order.
Many more breaking balls now second time through. You know, for Pomeranz, it was basically just fastball first time through the batting order, but the knuckle curve has come out and he's thrown a lot of them. Gave up his first base hit on a curveball.
That one finds the inside corner. A big spot here in the 5th inning. The Brewers have taken the lead, and Weeks cuts through a fastball. It's 1-2 now on Ricky. Now when you think about it, Rock, you've got a battery of 23-year-olds here. Pomeranz, the pitcher, and the young catcher Rosario.
Yeah, both learning. Neither one of them know the league very well. That's the state right now, the Rockies pitching staff. You know, some youngsters, and then you have the 50-year-old, Jamie Moyer.
He's 49, by the way.
Okay.
But I get what you're saying. 70 pitches for Pomeranz. Something else is loose in the outfield. There's Jamie Moyer. He will not pitch in this series after his historic win on Tuesday against the Padres. Oldest to win a game in the major leagues in 49 years and 150 days.
You know who the first batter he ever faced in the big leagues?
Who's that?
Ron Renicky.
Ron Renicky.
Way back when.
Good one. Ron Renicky doesn't remember that, though.
He doesn't? I'll bet Jamie Moyer doesn't remember it either.
No, I think Jamie might, right? His first batter. You remember your first pitcher faced?
Yeah, Danny Darwin.
Seems like you remember your first.
That was back on June 16th, 1986, pitching for the Cubs. Ron Renicky was a member of the Phillies. Matter of fact, a side note, Ron Renicky went 2 for 3 and a walk against Jamie Moyer.
Look at you.
That's R&D to your left over here.
Nice. Rick Ramirez coming up big. Well, I guess he can stay then. Full count. Aoki will be off with the pitch at first. There he goes, down in the dirt. A block by Rosario, but the bases are loaded here. So they're loaded for Carlos Gomez, as Pomeranz has thrown 28 pitches in this inning.
And there is activity in that Rockies bullpen, and whoever it is, it's a right-hander and he's ready. Just standing up there on the mound. He's ready to come in if need be.
Edgemere Escalona is the man in the pen ready to enter the game. But Tracy's going to stick with his young lefty. Back in the windup he goes against Carlos Gomez. Bases loaded, 2 outs. 2 runs are in. The Brewers have taken the lead after Pomeranz went 4 perfect innings to start his night with 6 strikeouts. Gomez, center field, well hit. Fowler on the track, and he makes the catch to the deepest part of the ballpark. Dexter Fowler, with all that speed, runs it down. Gives Carlos Gomez a taste of his own medicine. Boy, a tough break. Inning ends in deep center. And Estrada was very good in his spot start for the injured Chris Narveson.
He really had good command of his fastball. He did not walk a batter, which is the impressive thing about his start to go along with those 9 strikeouts. 2 hits, one of them a home run, and is in line for a victory here tonight. You can't ask any more of Marco Estrada. Those who are questioning whether Estrada should make a start, I guess that question is answered in a big way by Marco tonight.
5 strong on a very limited pitch count of 70 to 75 pitches. He ends up throwing 78. And 5 innings, a career high for strikeouts for Estrada, and a season high for a Brewer starter this year with those 9 Ks. And so the ball is turned over to Manny Parra, and he'll have some important innings to bridge here as he comes on for the 6th.
Manny's been throwing well. I mean, it's his 2nd appearance on the homestand. You can see he's got that earned run average down to 2.25. He last pitched on the 19th a couple of days ago and threw an inning in the 3rd of scoreless baseball against the Dodgers.
Eric Young Jr. will pinch hit for the pitcher Pomeranz to start this inning. So he can close the book on the Rockies starter as well after 5. It's always about command with Manny Parra. When he is throwing strikes and getting ahead of hitters, he can be very tough, and he can pick up a lot of strikeouts. That goes for most pitchers. Every pitcher wants to get ahead. You want to put the hitter in a defensive spot, but Parra has such an array of pitches that are all swing and miss pitches.
No, and a pitcher relies on a split-fingered fastball, and Manny does a lot. You have to be ahead in the count for that pitch to be effective. Hitters aren't going to swing at that when they're ahead 2-1, 3-1. 0-1, 1-2. Those are the counts where a split-fingered fastball is a very effective pitch.
2 balls, 2 strikes on the pinch hitter, Eric Young.
Like that right there.
Didn't bite, did he?
That's a good pitch. That's exactly where you want it. And Eric Young Jr. able to lay off of it. That's tough.
So the count is full. Parra pitches from the stretch always now, even with nobody aboard. And he lost him. So he walks the first hitter he faces. And there's the tying run at first base for the Rockies. Tonight, Fox Sports Wisconsin has Brewers and Bucks. If you're looking for the Bucks and Nets game, it's on Fox Sports Wisconsin's alternate channel. For more information and additional channel listings, visit foxsportswisconsin.com. 2-1 our score here at Miller Park. Game 5 of the homestand. Game 2 against the Rockies. Rockies won last night. Top of the order now, Marco Scutaro. Scutaro was 0 for 2 against Estrada, including a strikeout. Scutaro had some injuries last year. Had an oblique injury while playing for the Red Sox that put him on the disabled list for a little over a month. And when he came back, Jed Lowry was playing so well for Boston, he turned into a platoon player and kind of a backup role player at that point. He earned his way back in. Lowry ended up with an injury, and the Red Sox just had that monumental collapse. They would look like the best team in baseball when Scutaro went on the disabled list, or at least when he came back. Well, it was the Tampa Bay Rays who ended up winning the wild card on that dramatic final day of the season. And it's almost as if Scutaro said, I'm going to the other league and as far away from Boston as I can. And Colorado was as far as he could go.
Yeah, and that collapse seems to be continuing into this year.
Young takes off. Lucroy's throw not in time. That was a good throw, but Young got a good jump. He's very fast, and he steals second base.
Yep, you can't do it any better than what Jonathan just did. I mean, a perfect throw down to second base, very quick, but Eric Young just too fast. Had a good jump, and it was pretty close at second base. Look how quickly he gets rid of it, right on the money. And very close at second.
So the tying run in scoring position now. Nobody out. Parra in trouble here. As Scutaro gets a bunt down. It's a good one. Gamble has to retreat, and safe is the call. That one looked like a disaster from the start. And now first and third for Colorado.
Yeah, just a beautiful bunt. Not much you can do about it. It's an indefensible play when you put it where you want to. You know, Manny falls off toward third base just a little bit. Gamble did the right thing. It just Manny took a little bit too time to get it to first base. A little bit too much time.
It's going to be an infield hit, a bunt single for Scutaro. And now Parra is going to have to go through the middle of this order. That leadoff walk is looming large.
Jonathan once again doing a nice job keeping Young at third base. He started Dexter Fowler with a splitter, thinking he was going to be swinging first pitch fastball.
Now the leash will be short for Parra in a tight game. Mike McClendon is loosening. There's a bunt, foul, like a safety squeeze was on. And perhaps Fowler just deciding on his own to maybe bunt for a hit there.
Having a tough time making contact this Fowler. He struck out his first 2 times up, but trying to drop one down with his speed, pretty good chance he's going to beat it.
On the ground, Weeks gets the out at second. That's all the Brewers will get. A run scores, and this game is tied at 2. So neither starter will factor in the decision tonight.
Well, you start your inning with first and third, nobody out. You'd be doing a pretty good job just to get out of this mess with a tie score. You get a ground ball, turn your double play, and get the Brewers back in that dugout.
That's an RBI for Dexter Fowler. Reaches on a fielder's choice. Tulowitzki and Fowler with the RBIs tonight. And here's Carlos Gonzalez. Gonzalez 0 for 2 against Estrada. Marco gave up just 2 hits. One of those, the Tulowitzki homer. But he didn't walk a batter, and he struck out 9 tonight. In there, a fastball from Parra.
You know, we talk all about Dexter Fowler and his speed. He only had 12 stolen bases last year. Played just about the whole season. He's got 2 so far this year. And doesn't run as much as you would think.
There's another one. A heater in there for a strike, and it's 0-2 on Gonzalez. Parra put it in the perfect spot, right on the outside corner at the knees.
You see him drop that splitter down here and get it down in the dirt. Matty's been throwing that splitter to lefties lately.
And if you're Fowler, it might be a good time to run with that in mind. He stays put, and Gonzalez rips one in the seats. Wow, look out up there. Turned on that one.
Yes, he did. It might have been that splitter that stayed up and in. Make sure that pitch is down.
Gonzalez has fought the illness bug. Had strep throat, knocked him out of 3 games. He just returned to the lineup on Tuesday for the Rockies. It's Saturday to Tuesday between starts for Colorado. He made a run at MVP and a Triple Crown 2 years ago. Was very good at home last year. And the big question for Gonzalez leading up to 2012, would he fare better on the road this season as opposed to last season? Oh, Lucroy had to leap for one to keep it from the screen.
I mean, that's certainly an argument that you can't make, regarding Todd Helton, because when you look at his numbers, he's just as good on the road as he is at home. And it's always an issue, with guys that play at Coors Field. Can't make that argument with that guy.
Yeah. Well, Gonzalez last year hit .331 at home, just .252 on the road. It's a big discrepancy. Gets jammed, got a chance to turn it here. 6-4, and a poor throw. Gonzalez runs well. Might not have had him anyway, but Gonzalez able to leg it out. Brewers get it out at second.
And Fowler was all over Ricky Weeks at second base. Right off the handle and not hit all that hard. Now watch Dexter Fowler come in at Ricky. Coming in hot and affected the throw of Weeks to first base. Fowler with a late slide and coming after Ricky. That's good hard baseball. Nothing dirty about that slide.
Would have been close. So with that, Renick's going to make a change here. And here comes Mike McClendon to face Troy Tulowitzki. 2-2 ball game. We'll take a break. To the depth a little bit as Mike McClendon just called up from AAA Nashville, and he'll get the chance here against Tulowitzki. And speaking of the minor leagues, some of the statistical leaders down in the Brewer system, Chris Davis at AA Huntsville is the organization's leading hitter. Scooter Gennett, a long hitting streak. And some of the stars on the mound, Tyler Thornburg's having a great year pitching for the Huntsville Stars in AA. Via Nashville, Mike McClendon. See his numbers in the big leagues a year ago. Was 3-0 in limited duty with Milwaukee. Had an ERA just above 1 in AAA this year. He starts Troy Tulowitzki with strike one.
He hasn't pitched since Sunday. He's appeared in 5 games and gave up 1 earned run in 7 2/3 innings. Well, he was throwing the baseball pretty well. Actually had a save down there.
Mike McClendon, he started throwing a palm ball this spring. Good old-fashioned palm ball. What's that look like?
Tough pitch to hit when you keep it down. Kind of like a change up, but it kind of comes out and tumbles. The thumb is the last finger, if you will, if the thumb is a finger on the baseball. It kind of tumbles out.
Will pop up. Gamble gives it a look. That one's in the seats. So a palm ball has a forward rotation, a tumble.
Theoretically that's the way it is, but I'm not exactly sure how it's thrown. But it's a good off-speed pitch. It's something that a lot of hitters haven't seen a whole lot.
That's an old school pitch. I mean, you don't see that.
Right.
Back in the 50s, guys do the palm ball.
It didn't have the split-fingered fastball, the cutter back. At least they didn't call it that. Palm ball relatively easy on the arm. I think we might have a palm ball instructional the next time we have Jerry Augustine.
That would be awesome, because you know he's thrown one.
Because I don't think Davey and I could pull that one off.
0-2 to Tulowitzki. Let's see if McClendon breaks out that palm ball here. It's a very slow pitch. I mean, it's a changeup of a changeup even.
Right. Well, if you throw it, you got to have it down in the third. I mean, 0-2, hitters protecting, and you leave that pitch up to a guy like Tulowitzki, it could be a disaster. There it is. He threw it, and it was exactly where you want it to be, down in the dirt.
See if we can get a look at the release here. Tough to tell.
Kind of like a changeup, but I guess it's on the grip. Call it changeup anything you want.
McClendon, he's an interesting guy because he's created a number of unusual pitches, deliveries. He's the guy who has the speed up pitch when he's in the windup. Probably most famous for striking out Albert Pujols, and then Pujols sat at home plate and complained for about 30 seconds wondering if that was legal or not.
Right.
And it is. He doesn't do it from the stretch, though. Runner goes, and Tulowitzki takes a ball. Throw to second is late. Another steal for Colorado.
And not much your catcher can do about those two stolen bases. No small consolation. Catchers hate that. Another big lead, big jump. Good throw by Jonathan Lucroy. And that ball, if that ball's right on the bag, it's still going to be too late. He's 2/3 away there before Lucroy even is able to get a throw off.
Well, now the go-ahead run in scoring position, and that one's inside. 3-2 to Tulowitzki. Started him 0-2. Tulowitzki has worked it full. Dangerous bat. He homered in the fourth, the first run of the ball game, first hit of the ball game. And there's a base hit to right. Tulowitzki shoves it into the outfield, and the Rockies are going to take the lead, 3-2.
Yeah, just a very good at bat. By an all-star shortstop. I mean, that was a pretty good pitch by McClendon. Watch where this pitch ends up. I mean, that ball down. It might have been the palm ball slider. I don't know what it was, but Tulowitzki just trying to protect the plate, and he just serves it out there in the right field. Just guides it. Just wanted to make contact and ends up driving in a run. Good at bat.
The two stolen bases in this inning have played big for the Rockies. They've led to both runs. Now 3-2 Colorado with Todd Helton at the plate. Brewers snatch a lead in the fifth. They give it right back in the sixth.
Nothing good ends up happening when you walk the leadoff hitter. I mean, that's what it all starts. Base on balls to the number 9 spot. It was Eric Young Jr. drawing a walk, and then Rocky's able to put 2 runs on the board.
Now McClendon getting word he's coming from Nashville to the big leagues, and he steps right into the Hornets' nest here. Having to deal with Gonzalez, Tulowitzki, and now Helton. 3-0 to Todd Helton. And ball 4. So that is the second walk of the inning. First for McClendon. And now first and second for Michael Kadire. And on his way to the mound is Rick Kranitz. Let's take you around the league a little bit. Some news and notes. Pitchers dropping like flies. Chris Narveson on the DL for the Brewers. Elsewhere, Daniel Hudson goes on the 15-day disabled list. His shoulder is bothering him. Ryan Dempster with a quad strain. And Cliff Lee, after 10 scoreless innings against the Giants, has to go on the disabled list with an oblique strain. And that can be sometimes a month to 6 weeks.
Yeah, especially for a pitcher, right? Yeah, crazy stuff. Pitchers having a tough time.
Michael Kadire with 2 outs, 2 on.
And that's the thing about organizations, and they have to protect the depth. The Brewers able to get Marcus Strotter on the mound with the Narveson injury. Got Willie Peralta waiting in the wings, and that's the big reason why they have that the options rule in baseball. It protects players from being that 6th or 7th starter in an organization and never able to get elevated. Depth in pitching is tough to come by.
Well, this year, at least at the beginning of the year, more than ever, more than recent memory anyway, teams are just plowing through pitchers. 2-0 to Kadire. Now 3 balls and no strikes, and suddenly McClendon has lost it on the mound.
And he started his first hitter, Tulowitzki, 0-2. And is having a tough time throwing strikes since.
Manny Parra started the inning. Gave up a walk and a hit, and there's a strike to Kadire.
And be careful here. You throw a cookie down the middle, you might find yourself down by 4.
Kadire drove in the winning run yesterday. Runners go, and a strike on the inside corner. 3-2 now. Lucroy not bothering with a throw. Now a base hit will score 2. 2 more steals in this inning. That's 4 stolen bases this inning alone. Popped him up. That'll stay playable. Gamble makes the catch. Inning over. Brewers dodge a bullet, but they do give up a pair. And Colorado has taken the lead. The MVP will lead off when we come back. We're headed to the bottom of the 6th. Baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is presented by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. And by Miller Lite, because when friends come together, it's not just a good time, it's Miller time. Back in Miller Park, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it's 3-2 Colorado, our Powerball home run leaderboard. Corey Hart still leads the club with 4 home runs. Gutierrez with 3, and then You got a trio of Brewers with 2 home runs this season. The National League leader in home runs is Matt Kemp. He has hit another one tonight. 9 home runs already for Matt Kemp.
Oh, man.
What a start. Well, here comes Ryan Braun as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Esmil Rogers is on the mound for Colorado. He'll be the new pitcher.
Off to a pretty good start. He spent a little bit of time with the Rockies last year. 4 games, 7 1/3, and he's not giving up a run. A .222 opponent batting average. Got a good fastball and a pretty good curveball.
So Esmil Rogers takes over for Drew Pomeranz, who goes 5 innings. 2 runs, 1 earned for Pomeranz as Braun takes the first pitch for a ball. 0 for 2 tonight is Braun. And a pop up in the first and then a strikeout in the 4th. Rockies getting 2 runs in the top of this inning after the Brewers scored twice to take the lead in the bottom of the 5th. Braun sends one high and deep center field, and there it goes. A booming home run by Ryan Braun. And this game is tied at 3. Home run number 2 for the MVP.
Well, the first run allowed by Rogers this year, and it is a boomer by Brawny. Wow. Centering on a fastball by Rogers and hit it way back out there in center. Wow.
Here's Aramis Ramirez, and there's a strike. Well, it had that sound. Very few big league hitters make that sound. No doubter from the start is Ramirez. Great play at third by Nelson, and he finishes it off for the out. Outstanding play by Chris Nelson. Let's take it back to the Braun home run.
And look at the location of the pitch. Kind of leaked back in the inner half, and there it is, that sound you're talking about. Good extension, didn't overswing, and watch that baby fly. That got small in a hurry.
High off the scoreboard in center field, at the bottom of the scoreboard. Plenty of mileage on that one for Braun, and it's a game tire.
Yeah, that's called extension. I mean, look at the form. The good form by Brawny. A little bit of a stiff front leg and a good turn on the back leg, and that picture on the left will tell you all you need to know about where that ball was hit on the bat. Goodness.
Well, Corey Hart had a big hit tonight. He had the first hit of the game for the Brewers, and a double in the 5th. Well, Rogers bringing the heat on a 1-2 pitch, 96 miles an hour from Esmil Rogers.
He's got a little bit of late life to it. Look, it get some giddy up, a little sink, a cut from time to time, and yeah, 96 about what he tops out at.
Two and two to Corey Hart. Last year the Rockies were using Rogers as a starter. He's pitched exclusively out of the bullpen this season. As a starter, his fastball would hover in the low 90s. I think Jim Tracy and Bob Apodaca thinking you put him in the bullpen, let him air it out when he's going to have an inning, maybe 2 at a time. He can get up to some of those big numbers. That's his best heater yet, 97 on the gun.
Hey, Rogers made 13 starts last year, a 7.05 ERA.
Slow roller under the glove. Tulowitzki winds it up and gets Corey Hart. Out number 2. Speaking of velocity, time now to take a look at our Jimmy John's high-speed delivery. Estrada and Pomeranz tapping out at 93 miles an hour. A lot of folks don't realize Estrada can hit 93.
I don't think Marco could, thought he could hit 93.
That's a new development.
That's about as big a fastball as we've seen from Marco.
Maybe an adrenaline rush.
Yeah, 91, 92 he'll get up to, but not too many 93s, but he hit it tonight.
Well, 2 outs after the Braun homer. And here's Alex Gonzalez, who drove in a run with a double last inning. The Brewers scored their first run on what is now being ruled a passed ball. And Gonzalez had the other RBI in that inning. That one is smoked. A base hit for Gonzalez. He has 2 hits tonight. A 2-out single for the Brewers shortstop.
And taking that one right back through the middle. His double was right down the third baseline, and a high fastball. You see how that fastball flattens out when it gets up around the belt. And those are the ones that you have to take advantage of, and Gonzalez able to do that.
From one good fastball hitter to another, Matt Gamble digs in. Gamble walked his last time up. His lone home run for the Brewers came earlier on this homestand. That was Tuesday night against the Dodgers, and it was a rocket out of here.
I think the Brewers have to be very pleased with this start from Matt Gamble. 292. He's made some mistakes at first base, but in general, I think he's played pretty well over there. He's just going to get better as he becomes more comfortable at first in the big leagues.
Seems like one of those players, the better he hits, the better he's going to be at first base. More confidence. He's in the lineup to hit, and he's always hit in the minor leagues. That one's ripped to right. Playing very deep is Kadire, and he's there to make the catch. Boy, they had Kadire almost standing on the warning track. Ryan Braun ties it up. He needed that. Makes a long over here at Miller Park on this homestand.
Game against these Rockies will receive a Jonathan Lucroy bobblehead. That's courtesy of Quick Trim. It's also the Ryan Braun MVP ceremony here at the ballpark.
Yeah, we'll have that for you. We'll be covering that tomorrow on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Lucroy getting his bobblehead day tomorrow. New pitcher is Jose Veras. Game is tied at 3 after the Ryan Braun home run. He and Tulowitzki have homered tonight. And now Veras will take over in the 7th inning.
Now 7 appearances already for Jose Veras, a 169 earned run average. He's off to a tremendous start this year. 79 appearances last year with the Pirates. That big man, I think he can handle the work.
Now Mike McClendon put in action right away. And it does bear repeating. Rock made a good point. He has not pitched since Sunday. McClendon was able to retire Michael Kadire after a hit and a walk. 2 runs scored for the Rockies. Those runs belong to Parra. So McClendon is back in the wheel now, and Jose Veras will take over for him in the 7th inning.
I think that's twice his homestand. You said that.
About.
Good point.
You've been making a lot of good points. You've had a great start to the season.
2 good points in the homestand. I'm impressed. Thank you.
As poor as your effort has been on the promos, it has been just the opposite with your game analysis, which is really where we all want it to be.
Is that why you've been doing all the promos tonight? I mess up one all year.
All I do is read what I'm handed.
I know it's not your fault. I know.
That decision's coming from above.
I know.
You know, sometimes the skipper takes the ball out of your hand. You know,
gotta have a chat with somebody. I don't know who.
Open door policy down there. I'll have to give you directions to the truck. There's a swing and a miss. Great block by Lucroy, and Rosario, a strikeout victim. He pretty much made his mind up. He was going to swing right there.
And that big sweeping slider, not even close. And a good job by Jonathan Lucroy. I mean, I tell you, we've been saying a lot of accolades. We've been talking accolades with these catchers regarding blocking pitches, but they've been doing a bang-up job this year.
Here's Chris Nelson. And Veras gives him a close shave. Nelson made a nice play last inning, robbing Ramirez of a base hit. Playing the hot corner at third base. Rockies had Casey Blake penciled in as their third baseman in spring training. They released him, and Nelson has the job. Nelson started the season 0 for 7 at the plate, but he's been swinging a pretty good bat since. And he drives that one to right, but Corey Hart is there for the out. Out number 2. Bill Schroeder, everyone.
Hey, for just $13, Fair Friday packages include 1 ticket to Friday Brewers games and admission to the 2012 Wisconsin State Fair presented by U.S. Cellular. Visit brewers.com/State Fair.
Nice. 2 gone. And it'll be Esmil Rogers, the Rockies relief pitcher, who will get an at bat here in the 7th inning. Interesting play by Jim Tracy.
Well, his last time out, he threw an inning and 2/3. So, as you mentioned, he was a starter last year. You need up multiple innings. 13 starts for Rogers a year ago.
Rogers began his pro career as a hitter before converting to the mound.
They usually start as catchers, don't they? There's been a lot of that lately.
Catchers turn pitchers, right?
Yeah.
Oh, 2 to Rogers, and he is down on strikes, and that's why they made him a pitcher. 1-2-3 inning for Veras. Couple of Ks. Stretch time at Miller Park.
at Miller Park between the Rockies and the Brewers. It's our 7th inning social media time to interact with you through Twitter. Don't forget our handle at FS Wisconsin. And we've had a lot of good ones tonight. It's been a busy night, but we continue to honor our military. Chris Schmidt, stationed in the Navy, but he says he never misses a game watching online or listening on his phone. He says, go Crew, and we're going to need it tonight, guys.
It's great to hear from all of our military personnel, and the opportunity to watch games with the extra innings package or MLB.TV opened up the fan base from all over the world. Your son watched in Afghanistan.
That's right.
In the middle of the night sometimes. Here's Jonathan Lucroy to lead off, and we go to the bottom of the 7th inning in a 3-3 game. And it feels like we've seen this game before.
Yes, sir. You know, a lot of tight games in this homestand, that's for sure. Every one of them's been a one-run game, right?
Now the Brewers won the first 2 games of this homestand in their final at-bat, beating the Dodgers Tuesday night in the 9th inning, and a comeback win, and then Wednesday night in extra innings. But the Dodgers won the finale Wednesday, and the Rockies won last night with a 9th inning RBI from Kadire. The scores on this homestand: 5-4, a 3-2 Brewers win in 10 innings Wednesday, and then back-to-back 4-3 losses. Lucroy leads off. Nigel Morgan is on deck. And Jim Tracy has his left-hander in the bullpen. As Lucroy finds the hole, a base hit for the Brewer catcher. These guys just keep hitting. Lucroy's 1 out of 2, and a base runner for Nigel Morgan.
They got a breaking pitch that stayed up in the zone, and you know, Jonathan, a very good 2-strike hitter. And not trying to overswing, and finds its way into left field for a leadoff base runner. Have not been too many of those for the Brewers in this game, but they've been able to do it in 3 consecutive innings.
Well, you wonder if, as Nigel Morgan is announced, you wonder if Tracy's going to make the pull here for his left-hander, Matt Reynolds, who's ready in the bullpen.
They've got a number of right-handers coming up. Question is, do you burn one of them when you anticipate a bunt from Nigel Morgan?
K-Rod is preparing for the 8th. You can do that when you step off the rubber from the mound. You can't fake to first typically, but he stepped off. That gets away big time as Lucroy on his way to second. Man, that is a serious wild pitch. It almost bounced into the Brewers dugout.
Well, the job remains the same for Niger now and getting Lucroy to third base. But check this out. That got the umpire.
You're right.
Rosario never got a glove on it. Check it out. And the umpire gets one right in his shin guard. Now, I would imagine that is a wild pitch. Would you say?
Gotta be. I thought both of them in this game were wild pitches.
Pass ball?
I don't know. Is that what the rule? I haven't seen it. The official score says pass ball. There's no way that's a pass ball.
Okay.
That ball was halfway in the left-handed hitter's batter's box.
I'm glad I'm not catching anymore.
That's a tough score. Either way, a runner at second, and we'll see if Morgan is able to advance him to third. Got a guy throwing 97 miles an hour on the mound. And there's another one. And Lucroy will advance.
Well, I'm not saying anything about what that is.
That's a pass ball. My partner is going to quit. He's going to walk right out of the booth.
Don't tell him that. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like the kick saving a beauty back there for Rosario tonight. What is that?
That's a wild pitch.
Okay.
I mean, Rosario's looking for something away. Both of those pitches, he's looking for something away. And Rogers is throwing 96, 97 miles an hour. He's missing his spot by the entire width of the plate and then some.
And it's tough. I mean, it really is tough back there when you have a guy not even close.
Well, the stage is set here. Runner at third. The go-ahead run at third base. Nobody out. And Morgan shoots one right to Scutaro.
That's kind of the way it's been for Niger, hasn't it? Every time he seems to hit one on the nose, it's right at somebody, and it had to be right at somebody, and with the infield in the way it was. He hit a bullet, but 2 hops right at Scutaro, and Lucro has to stay at third. Tough break.
Well, the infield positioning pays off for the Rockies. They get an out, keeps Lucroy at third base, and now Ricky Weeks. Back to the top of the order. Well, Weeks fouls it away a little bit late. Let's check our text question tonight, courtesy of Ho Chunk Gaming, Wisconsin. Henry asked, how does the official score decide if a pitch is a wild pitch or a pass ball? Well, he just years and years of experience.
Yeah, I guess, you know, in his opinion, should he have caught it? If he thought he should have caught it, it's a pass ball. Simple as that. You will never see a pass ball called on the ball in the dirt, though, ever. Or at least you shouldn't.
Weeks drives one right center. Fowler on the run, looking up, and it is off the wall. Lucroy will score. Weeks is on his way to third. The ball was bottled in the outfield. And the Brewers put another runner at third base, and they take the lead 4-3.
No, that one didn't miss by much. Hey, a couple of near misses for the Brewers. Corey Hart a near miss in right center, and Ricky hit one just about the same spot. Had a fastball, center cut, and Ricky misses a home run by a couple of feet. A little bit of a problem out there, just like last night with the inside the park home run, and Ricky able to get to third base.
That could go as an error, most likely will. But Weeks does the job, drives in a run on a line drive off the wall in right center. That's his third RBI of the season. It gives Milwaukee the lead in the bottom of the 7th. Bob Apodaca back to the mound, chatting with Rogers.
And longtime pitching coach. He was a Brewers pitching coach for a while. Trying to calm down his right-hander, who's got great stuff, but just is not able to control his pitches. Throwing the ball all over the place. That time got too much of the plate with it.
Well, the fact that Weeks ends up at third base is big. And another runner at third with 1 out. No error posted at this point.
It must be a triple.
So give him a triple and an RBI. Gomez a chance to drive in a run. Gomez is an excellent bunter. But the game Ron Renicky plays is the same game Jim Tracy plays. He loves the squeeze bunt. Those two go back to their playing days. Go back to Double-A, as a matter of fact, the two skippers. Gomez chops it foul.
If you're Ricky Weeks, you've been watching what's going on with Rogers, and you have to get a big secondary lead and be ready to go. Whether it's a wild pitch or pass ball, but Rogers is really having a tough time figuring out where his pitches are going.
Gomez shows an 0 for 3 on his card tonight, but he's hit the ball hard twice. Had a line out in the 4th and drove one on a line to right center in the 5th inning. Dexter Fowler made a nice running catch at the wall, and that was with a couple of men on base. Chased one. Great block by Rosario. That saves a run. Gomez Now down in the count, 1-2.
Now this pitch just drops right off the table. Sorry, we're able to keep it in front of him. Saves a run.
Gomez trying to get the ball in the air at least. Won't take much to score Ricky Weeks from third base. You got Ryan Braun on deck. And there's a bouncer that's through a base hit. Weeks will score. Carlos Gomez with an RBI single. And it is 5-3 Milwaukee.
And a good two-strike hitting by Carlos Gomez. It was a slider. The same pitch that he swung at that was in the dirt. And I think Rogers tried to do the same thing, but left it up in the zone. Watch how he's just taking a little bit off the swing, just shortening it up a little bit to make contact off the end of the bat on a slider, and he drives in a run. Good adjustment by Gomez in that at bat. Not over swinging.
Another run is in, 2 in the inning. The Brewers have a 5-3 lead and a pitching change on the mound. Jim Tracy going to his bullpen. We'll take a break. The Brewers up 2. Stay with us. Ricky Weeks and Carlos Gomez with the RBIs. 5-3 as Ryan Braun will hit, and the new Colorado pitcher just promoted from the minor leagues earlier this week, Edgmer Escalona, a hard-throwing right-hander.
He appeared in 14 games last year with the Rocks and a 175 earned run average. He's throwing well down in Colorado Springs, and this will be his first game tonight.
He was the AAA closer to start the year, had a couple of saves. Facing Braun with 1 out, and Gomez at first base. And you know Gomez is ready to run. With the pitcher making his first appearance in the big leagues this season. Always the agitator, Carlos Gomez.
He just brings high stress to the defense when he's on the bases, doesn't he?
He's got everybody's attention. Infielders, outfielders. You know he has the catcher's attention. And most importantly, the pitcher. And if he can draw just enough attention away from Ryan Braun, he might get a mistake and Braun can do damage.
Yeah. Well, he'd like to get into scoring position for Braun, and Ronnie driving another run. But you got to make sure you get a jump, because with Ryan at the plate, you're always in scoring position, even at first base.
Braun hit a mammoth home run in the 6th. That broke, or actually tied the game. Gomez starts, then stops, and Braun takes a strike. Marshfield Clinic's shining moment. Ryan Braun at the plate in the 6th inning, and watch where this one lands. In the camera well, just under the scoreboard, and that home run tied the game at 3. It led off the 6th. Second home run of the year for Braun. And his first hit. There goes Gomez. Braun swings and fouls it back. That Braun home run snapped at 0 for 16 at the plate. And in the 5+ years in the big leagues for Ryan Braun, typically when he has a slump, he makes up for it quickly. So we'll see if he's locked in at the plate. The Brewers have 7 hits tonight. There goes Gomez again. And the throw to second is late. Carlos Gomez steals second. And now he's in scoring position.
It's not often you see Gomez get thrown out, but he got thrown out in this homestand. Braun able to take a pitch out of the zone, and even Rosario with that big arm not able to get Gomez. A little tail as it got to second base.
One ball, 2 strikes on Braun. And that one's pulled foul past Ed Cedar. Well, a big run to pick up. See if the Brewers can add to their lead. That one's hit well. Deep left center field. And it is off the top of the wall. Gomez racing around third. He'll score. Braun into third. A triple. It's an RBI for Braun, and it's 6-3.
Now here he comes. 4 games, an eternity for Ryan Braun to go hitless, and he's making up for it. A couple of RBIs tonight. I told you Gomez was in scoring position at first.
Triple number 1 for Braun, and he didn't miss a home run by much.
Yep, a 1-2 pitch up in the zone, and I think Braun thought it was out. Right at the bottom of the wall. Well, Rockies outfielders have not been doing a very good job out there picking up balls off the wall. They're both of them too close to that wall, and Braun able to get into third base.
This is the kind of inning the Brewers have been looking for, and a sigh of relief. They've scored 3 times in this inning. All 6 of the Brewers' runs have come in the last 3 innings. 4 hits in this one, 3 consecutive hits, and the Brewers keep putting runners in scoring position. As Braun is at third with 1 out for Ramirez. Two RBIs tonight for Braun. 7 total bases. We talk about Gomez's speed. Ryan Braun can run as fast as anyone. He thought that was gone.
And still able to get in for a triple. He puts it into overdrive right here, and even with the arm of Carlos Gonzalez, able to get into third base without a play.
Anytime we see Braun start tugging at his jersey, he thinks he's hit one out. That's kind of the play-by-play announcer's cue when he starts pulling at the jersey.
Yeah,
he's done that twice this year. Has hit him high off the walls. The one time you can understand, he hit. Remember that ball he hit in Chicago? The wind was blowing in at Richmond Field.
He hit one, and then Ramirez hit one right after him. Both of them stayed in the ballpark.
Two to Ramirez, and he strikes out. There's a An RBI opportunity lost for Ramos Ramirez. He doesn't let many go by. So watch the tug. Right. Wait for it. Right there. I don't know. You pick up these things over the years.
That's a good eye. Yeah.
Everybody has their thing. Rockies are going to walk Corey Hart. Corey Hart at the plate, presented by Wendy's. His double was the first Brewers hit.
I'd say the last 3 innings for the Brewers have been incredible. The first 4, nothing at all going on. What a change.
It's like a different ball game.
Man.
2 games in 1. 4 perfect innings by Pomeranz against Milwaukee hitters. And the Brewers have racked up 6 runs and 8 hits. Just for video proof, Rock, let's go back to Braun's home run. Just so you think I'm not out of my mind here. Now what? That's a home run. Going for the tug. Right there. See? You think I'm making this up?
I always believe you, man.
It's true.
Really.
I asked him about it once. He said he doesn't even realize he does it. It's just kind of a I got you kind of thing, you know. Maybe it goes with a tug and a sniff.
A little premature in that last one, though.
I know. He's
right.
I've got to readjust my sights now. He doesn't just do it on home runs, though. When he hits one really good.
Right.
Alex Gonzalez with runners at the corners.
I'd say Rosario has been a busy man back there since the 5th inning. There has been a lot going on. A couple of pass balls, a couple of wild pitches. Looks like a hockey goalie back there.
Alex Gonzalez has had a nice night. 2 hits. An intentional walk to get to him, though, with 2 away. Tell you, for a hitter, that's got to be the ultimate slap in the face. Walk a guy with 2 outs. He's not putting him on to set up a double play. He's putting Corey Hart on base to face you.
Yeah, that gives you a little bit of an extra incentive.
It's in a hitter's count. And that one's hit deep to left center. Way back. And there it goes. Alex Gonzalez. A 3-run home run. And the Brewers unloading on the Rockies here in the 7th inning. Six runs in.
Take that. You want Corey Hart to get to me, will you?
9-3 Brewers as Gonzalez belts his 3rd homer of the year.
That's a 3-1 pitch right down the middle of the plate. And look at Gonzalez. He centers on it. Home run number 3. Nice short stroke, and he knew it. Nice inning for Milwaukee. A big crooked number.
Three hits tonight for Gonzalez. And his 3rd homer. The 9th batter in the inning. As the Brewers have broken it open here. Gamble had a good cut. What an inning.
Yeah, the inability to get breaking pitches over. It cost both Rogers and now Escalona in this inning.
Five hits in the inning for the Brewers. 6 runs have scored. Gonzalez home run, the second of the night. He and Braun with the home runs this evening. Gamble is 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. He lined out to deep right his last time up. And it's 3-2 on Gamble. Jose Veras, the pitcher of record for the Brewers, in the winner's circle. If he can finish it out, certainly the big inning will affect the decision making of Ron Renicky the rest of the way. As far as pitching goes, we saw Francisco Rodriguez warming up. He was sat down quickly, and now Tim Dillard gets loose. Close games are exciting, fun to watch, very entertaining, but they can be hard on a bullpen.
Now, and this is somewhat the Achilles heel for Jim Tracy and the Rockies, that middle relief. Young, inexperienced, they got good arms, but inability to get ahead in the count and throw their breaking pitches over for strikes.
Gamble hanging tough. Nice at bat here for Matt Gamble. He'll see at least 11 in this at bat. Alex Gonzalez with a big homer. 3-run shot. Gamble a little flare. Back is Nelson. And there's the final out. The Brewers bring 9 to the plate. 6-run score in the 7th. Weeks had a big hit. Drawn off the wall. And Alex Gonzalez, the exclamation point. A 3-run home run. 9-3 as we go to the 8th. And our Miller Lite, what's on tap? You see the Brewers and the Rockies wrapping it up tomorrow. Jonathan Lucroy bobblehead day, and also the MVP ceremony for Ryan Braun. Monday, the Astros are here. Going to be a 3-game series. The first 2 games on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Our Miller Lite What's on Tap, a 9-game homestand for the Brewers. Tim Dillard will take the ball, and he inherits a 6-run lead, 9-3 Milwaukee. Dillard on the mound for the 8th time this year.
Yeah, these are important innings for Tim Dillard. I mean, Ron Renneke would love to see him get through the final 2 innings and put an end to this. Nyjer Morgan stays in the game in right field. And Travis Ishikawa takes over at first base.
Dillard to face Marco Scutaro. The Rockies are at the top of their order. A sellout crowd tonight, 43,565. And they have had a lot to cheer about these last 3 innings. And 2 games in 1 here. The Brewers were retired in order through the first 4 innings. 12 in a row sat down by Drew Pomeranz.
And did you were you worried about maybe a perfect game here at Miller Park at any point?
We were perfect through 4. Had a perfect game in Seattle tonight.
Is that a yes or no?
No, not at all.
Okay. A little early to be really worrying about that, isn't it?
Yeah, 4th inning. Now maybe in the 5th. No, that's a perfect game. That's kind of,
you get through 7 innings. I mean, perfect game, no hitter. You got to get through 7 innings to really start thinking, hey, this could happen here.
yeah.
It starts getting interesting in the 6th inning.
Scutaro on a hop to Gonzalez. Boy, how smooth is he?
Makes it look easy.
Got a 3-hit night tonight as well, Gonzalez. And as smooth as it gets at shortstop.
Now, when you did that Holiday, no hitter in the playoffs, when did you and Smoltz and the guys start thinking this could happen?
it was Joe Simpson.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Your buddy. And I got to be honest, and you can ask Joe. I didn't say it on the air, but in the 3rd inning. After the 3rd inning, Halladay was so good that night that we looked at each other, and I said, he could throw a no-hitter tonight. And, and he goes, come on. I go, no, he has that kind of stuff. But then in the 5th inning was the first time that we mentioned it on the air, that normally you wait until the 6th or 7th, really, before you start alerting everyone.
Then all the, the playoff no-hitters graphics start popping up.
Right. Don Larson.
Right,
well, the only one was Larson, the perfect game.
Right.
But that was a special night. You could just tell that was against Cincinnati, and Halladay was so good and so unhittable. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And it had to be a thrill for Philip Umber to throw a perfect game, the 21st perfect game in the history of baseball in the regular season, and he did it in Seattle today, pitching for the Chicago White Sox.
A.J. Pierzynski has been a part of a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, Burley threw a no-hitter and a perfect game.
Right.
Pierzynski caught one of those. There's a shot undressing Dillard as Fowler singles to center field with 1 away.
Now, Jason Varitek been involved in a number of no-hitters. Perfect game. Is it 4 of them?
4. Yeah, you're right. 4.
See, I look at it from the catcher standpoint. Not how many perfect games a pitcher has or something like that.
It's how many perfect games or no hitters a catcher has caught.
Right. So apparently, Pierzynski, Varitek have a lot to do with that. They've done it before. Not a coincidence. Not a coincidence.
And the only catcher to ever catch a no hitter in Brewers franchise history is Bill Schroeder.
Well,
there you go. There's another rocket. Oh, what a play, Gonzalez. And his only play is first base. That was hit so hard, Weeks couldn't get to the bag in time.
Yeah, didn't have an opportunity.
Man.
Well, he makes it look easy. He really does. I mean, a combination of, good fundamentals from, the legs down and nice soft hands. Always seems to know where he is on the field and where first base is. He spins around and knows exactly what to do. Has to make an adjustment because he thought he was going to go to second base. And a perfect throw over to first base. He's a good one.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's not that he catches it. He catches it perfectly in the webbing. His hand-eye coordination is off the charts, they say. We should get a camera on Alex Gonzalez. I don't know if he'd wear a microphone for us. We should ask, but his infield practice during batting practice when he's taking ground balls, it is poetry. People just stop and watch him make these flips, and he'll do his work and get his work in and do his double plays with Ricky Weeks, and then it's kind of like fun time,
right?
Like home run derby for hitters. He'll start making plays and backhanded flips and glove flips. It's amazing.
Never know when you're going to need him in the game, right?
Two outs, Tulowitzki at the plate. On a sweeping breaking ball for a strike. Strike two. Kind of racking my brain here about Jason Varitek. So Clay Buchholz, John Lester,
Derek Lowe,
and Hideo Nomo is the other. There are the four. Boy, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, you forget about Lowe. Not only did he throw a no-hitter, he was a 20-game winner. Then he saved 20 games. Two and two to Tulowitzki. That one missed. Not by much. I love the fact that Philip Humber threw the perfect game today, and all Mets fans say another former Met throws a no-hitter while they wait for their first no-hitter.
They've never had one.
That franchise, I think the count is up to 12 former Mets. There's 12 no-hitters by former Mets. There's a strikeout, and Dillard takes care of Tulowitzki to win the 8th.
Live here, 9 runs, 9 hits so far for Milwaukee. And Davey, that top of the order, especially in the 6th and 7th inning, our Toyota game summary kind of belongs to them. Those last 2 innings, a home run, 2 triples, and 4 RBI.
That's right. Ryan with the home run in that 6th, but then, boy, that top of the order, just Ricky Weeks with a triple, Ronnie with the triple, Gomez with a big single. I mean, it just evolved. We were happy to see the top of the order come through.
All right, let's hope that the Brewers have that epidemic now that they have gotten over, and they can get that balanced lineup back going, enjoying a 9-3 lead right now. Davey and I will full post-game report coming up on Brewers Live. We'll hear from the players, go inside the clubhouse, and also from manager Ron Renneke. It'll be interesting because Ron Renneke now is going to watch his nephew pitch. Guys?
That's him. That is Josh Renneke, Ron's nephew, and the son of Gary Renneke, who is now a Brewer scout. Josh Renneke appearing for the 5th time this year, pitching out of relief for Colorado. Came up with Cincinnati. He was traded to Toronto and then ends up with the Colorado Rockies.
He was claimed off of waivers from the Toronto Blue Jays last June. He appeared in 19 games for Colorado last year.
The fact that he was claimed on waivers means he has to stay in the big leagues this year. So he's still in development stage. He didn't pitch much until in his amateur career until later. A little bit in high school and college, but not much. There's a drive in the right center, and Kadire will make the catch. We had a chance to ask Ron Renneke about potentially watching his nephew Josh.
I'm never uncomfortable with him being on the other side. I'm rooting for him, but I'm rooting against him too. So I hope he has a great year, but not against us.
Make good pitches, but give up a lot of hits.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no family ties there. Winning is what it's all about. But he's seen him before. They've been in opposite dugouts in the American League when Ron was with the Angels and Josh was with the Blue Jays. Josh Renneke was a star quarterback in California. It's Nigel Morgan, little tapper, and there is out number 2. Matter of fact, he went to UCLA on a football scholarship. But that path was turned, so he started playing baseball again and got on the mound and always had a great arm. Ron talks about Josh, saying he's one of the best athletes he's ever been around. And he qualifies that by saying, I'm not saying it because he's my nephew. Superb athlete. Jerry Narron could understand. Jerry's son is making his way through the minor league system.
Right.
The Orioles, I believe.
Do you think it's all right if Ron's thinking, hey, nice 3-up, 3-down inning with a 6-run lead? I mean, he would never admit it, but we can understand, wouldn't we?
We would.
We would. His players wouldn't.
Oh, you're rooting against me, huh? That's all players want. They just want somebody rooting for them.
That's right. Nothing else. I want to give a shout out tonight to Jim Wright with the Miller Brewing Company. He's got over 200 Miller beer distributors here tonight in one of the big suites. So we appreciate everything that Miller Beer does. And Jim Wright, one of our good friends up here in the booth.
Tapper foul. Ball and 2 strikes on Ricky Weeks. Big part of the rally in the 7th. And an RBI double. 1 for 3 tonight for Weeks. Had a line out to center field in the 4th. He's got to feel good about the way he swung the bat tonight. Half swing, he goes. Weeks is down on strikes, and the inning is over. And nephew Josh, a 3-up, 3-down, and Willie Peralta set to make his debut. Brewers' top pitching prospect. Back at Miller Park, and no, that is not Willie Peralta. That is Tim Dillard. Dillard stays in. Peralta warming up in the bottom of the 8th, but apparently not to come in to pitch in this game. Perhaps just to get some work.
Just to get some work. He was supposed to pitch down in the minor leagues yesterday. Did not, so you don't want a guy sitting around too long. It would have been day 6 for him.
So our apologies for the false expectations of Willie Peralta coming into the game. He still might come in, you never know. Todd Helton leads off. 9th inning. Brewers trying to seal up their 3rd win of this homestand. Make it 3 out of 4 on the homestand. I'll be very anxious to see Willie Peralta. Saw a little bit of him this spring and a little bit of him last spring.
Well, from what they say, he's been throwing well down in the minor leagues. It's just a matter of whether he's going to be able to do that up here. Much different game in the major leagues.
Well, Doug Melvin and Gord Ash, they talk a lot about innings in the minor leagues. Peralta was signed. His first professional appearance was at the age of 17 in the Arizona Fall League. I'm sorry, in the Arizona League. I beg your pardon, the Summer League. He's been in the organization a while. He'll be 23 this May, but he is almost at that 500 inning number. I think he's at 491, and that's a number that a lot of general managers used to stick by pretty religiously. Not so much anymore, but there's a big balance there for a guy like Peralta. You don't want to expose him too quickly. You want to make sure he's ready. When he does pitch, it'll be his major league debut.
And when you compare that to you know, Drew Pomerantz, he had 101 innings in the minor leagues. That's not a lot of seasoning in professional baseball.
Yeah, just 21 starts in the minor leagues for Pomerantz. There have been a lot of top prospects come to the major leagues, struggle, and then never get it back mentally. That happens all the time. You hear about the guys like Steven Strasburg who come up, dominate.
Right.
But there are so many more cases of guys who come up and get rattled and don't have the kind of success that their stuff would show.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not the organization's fault. Sometimes these things are written into contracts.
That's a good point.
Agents, I mean, thinking that their player is ready before, you know, the guys that have been around this game for a long time, they trial and error. They know what's right. They know what it takes to develop talent. Sometimes you take that out of their hands and you have trouble.
Jeff Samardzija is a good example of that with the Cubs.
Right.
He signed a major league deal out of Notre Dame. And it has been a struggle for him. You know, he came up throwing 97, 98 miles an hour. Everybody was calling for Samardzija. This is the guy they wanted to see in the big leagues. And just now getting into the starting rotation.
Didn't know how to pitch. Had a good arm, but didn't know how to pitch.
Full count to Todd Helton. That one's hit pretty well to right. Short porch out there. Nigel Morgan will watch it go. Todd Helton hands one over the wall in right field. His second home run of the series.
Yeah, what a battle between he and Tim Dillard. Was that a 10-pitch at bat? Ultimately ends up with Helton hitting one out of here. Kept off fouling off tough pitches. Dillard ended up giving him one. Right down the middle. Look at that. I mean, Helton way out on his front foot. Had no solid base on his leg. Look how much he's out in front, but still able to get one out of here down the line. Still strong after all these years.
And the short porch got him. Back when Miller Park opened, that part of right field, the wall was the outfield wall before they moved it in. Dyer bounces out. 6-3 on the put out and 1 away for Tim Dillard. Well, they moved that part of the wall in, and it's interesting that the bricks back there beyond that right field wall there in the ATI area, those are the bricks from County Stadium.
Yeah. Well, Tim Dillard thinking if I was pitching in County Stadium, there'd be 2 outs right now.
County Stadium was a pitcher's park.
Yes, it was. Every now and again the wind would blow out, most of the time in the daytime, but I tell you, wind a lot of time blowing in off that lake in from left field, and it was tough.
Pitcher friendly park and pitcher friendly conditions.
And pitcher friendly to the point where, you know, the center field batter's eye was a bunch of silver shiny bleachers out there. Wow. Especially in the day. It took them an awful long time to paint those things green. I mean, that was a nightmare.
I didn't know that. There's a swing and a miss. And Rosario is down on strikes. 2 outs. And the Rockies are down to their last out now here in the ninth.
Not only were they silver and shiny, but there were people out there too.
In white t-shirts.
Right.
With flashlights.
Job by Dillard right there. Look how far out in front Rosario is on that breaking pitch.
Brewers pitching with 13 strikeouts in this game. That is a team high this season. Marco Estrada had 9 of them. There's a strike to Chris Nelson. Don't forget Brewers Live postgame coming up as soon as we're done here. Craig Kashawn, Davey Nelson, Telly Hughes will have interviews. And a must-see instructional tonight. Bouncing ball to Ramirez. And that will do it. The Brewers win 9-4, the final score on the heels of a 6-run 7th inning. They've taken 3 out of 4 on the homestand. And the Brewers to 7-8 for the season. Much more still to come. Let's check in with Craig Kashawn. What do you have coming up on Brewers Live, Craig?
Boy, sellout crowd here and a good viewing audience on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Nice win for the Brewer crew. The bats come alive. And how about the starting pitching from Marco Estrada as well? We'll cover it all. Brewers Live is on the way.